What's up YouTube, ODST General back again, and we are going to be checking out Into the Speed Force version 2. This is a indie fan game based off of the CW TV version of The Flash. Kind of an interesting project. I saw something similar to this a few years back. I think it was unrelated to this. I tried looking a little bit more into this project before recording this video to get you guys more information. And unfortunately, there really doesn't seem to be a lot, at least not on their Discord. But I guess I'll talk about the project a little bit. We'll check it out and we'll go from there. So in terms of the project, I might have to mute this. There is music in here. The audio thing doesn't actually work yet, so I can't turn the music off. Here we have the controls, and then there's videos and graphics options, which work, but it's got some issues with it too. So we'll go ahead and check this out. Main menu, you've got credits. The credits seem non-existent, I guess. I think this is honestly, it's a one-person project, although I'm a little hesitant to say that because I don't actually know how many people are involved. I know that there's at least one developer, but I don't see any others on the Discord right offhand, but they might just be offline. Anyways, yeah, let's go ahead and check it out. So there's the story mode that's grayed out. Right now there's just a free play, I guess. And it says you can use the skills you earn to purchase new abilities and stuff. And so here we are in the most recent Flash costume that they have, which is probably my favorite one from the show. This is a good costume, I think. And we're in front of the Central City Police Department. But before we go inside and check that out, because we can go inside, we're going to open up this menu here, which you hit tab and open up the menu, and you're able to actually change the costume. So you can go with the season 1 costume, which, you know, that one looks pretty good too. It's not my favorite, but you know, it's a good live action adaptation. The updated version a little bit better with the white crest, a little bit more of a bright color interjected in there. This one, if I can back out, taking it even a step further. Although this one actually, I don't know, something about this one, like, it's a little off to me. Like, it's got the gold belt, which is nice. But yeah, something, I think it's the shoulders. Like, you've got kind of the lightning bolt thing going on here, but it's like the material changes and stuff are a little too frequent, whereas like this one, it's mostly the mesh, and then like you've got a couple spots like the chest and stuff that's like the harder material, like the rubber or whatever it's supposed to be. Oh, there's this one. This thing's awful. I hate this costume. I'll be honest with you guys. This is my least favorite. It's the lack of a chin strap, I think, or anything like that. It's kind of a similar thing to what Captain America had in the first Avenger, or not the first Avenger movie. I'm trying to figure out how to phrase it, because there's Captain America the First Avenger, which is his movie, where he had a chin strap, and then there's the first Avengers movie, where he didn't, and that's the one I didn't like. And yeah, this is probably my least favorite costume. Honestly, if they did a few tweaks on this costume, it would actually be a really awesome costume, I think. You know, the material looks pretty decent. I don't really like this around the chin, and again, I don't like just much of what's going on there, but I think if you were to like combine that one and this one here together, it would be a pretty cool costume. But this one is just far and above the rest. Additionally, we have some of the other speedsters. We've got the bad guys, so we've got Thawne, Zoom. I can't remember the Speed Force Death or whatever. It was a Black Death or something. I can't recall, but it's like the zombie version of Zoom in the TV show, but it's the thing that basically gets the speedsters who like go out of time. And then there is Savitar, but he's currently not available. I'm assuming that we'll see other speedsters and stuff down the line. At least I certainly hope so. That's not where I would necessarily put priority for the project, but maybe down the line it'd be cool to see like Kid Flash or Jay Garrick, Jesse Quick, you know, any of the other speedsters, good and bad, that we've seen in the show throughout the years would be pretty neat. Additionally, you can select the trail colors, so you can choose which color of lightning follows behind them, so that's pretty cool. We can say do zoom, and we can have, you know, the blue lightning. unfortunately, yeah, some of the way the menu options and stuff work are still a little bit jankier. They just don't work properly. Missions are unavailable. There is no missions for us to check out at this time, and this looks like a placeholder image, probably built in from Unreal, I'm guessing. And then there's a skill tree, which not very fleshed out. We have a combat tree, which shows the lightning being thrown, which is one of the abilities you can get now, and then a bunch of blank stuff. Under the actual abilities tree, which is kind of weird. These are both abilities, you'd think. You've got the lightning being thrown. You've got this dial. I don't know what that is. Increased speed or something. You've got this, which is unclear. I'm guessing based off the pose, now that I'm looking at this is probably like a light ability or ball lightning, so that, because it's the same pose, this could be a little bit clearer. These icons aren't very clear. It'd be nice if you could actually like click on them and see what the abilities are. But you can't unlock any of the abilities yet, to my knowledge. And that looks like other planned abilities are the ability to run up and down buildings, which is something we see him do throughout the course of the show. The ring, I don't know, maybe we'll be able to change between having the costume on and off with this or something. Have like a quick change or something, I don't know. This is like the chest rig that Barry put on his chest to increase his speed. And this, I have no clue what that would even be. That one's pretty vague. Unfortunately, we can't back out from there, so we have to go back to this part here. Oh yeah, we gotta go back in here, so we're going to go ahead and walk up here. Traveling around inside the interior of the buildings feels a little rough because there is no intermediate speed. You're either walking or you're just running full speed. There is a slowdown, but even inside of buildings, slowing it down just doesn't seem to help. You can see there's some like weird stuff going on, I guess, with the shadows. Everything's set to epic currently, or it should be. I set it to that before we started. So not much going on down here, which is pretty neat though, having the CCPD building. It's a pretty iconic location to the Flash TV show. And then you can go upstairs, up onto the balcony, and go up to Barry's lab, where he got his powers. And as far as I know, there is no Easter eggs or anything to really do in any of these areas, at least not right now. I'm sure eventually there will be stuff you can do, or things to interact with, but yeah, currently nothing in there. And again, they haven't really made clear any of their plans on their Discord or anything. There isn't a roadmap on there for us to look at, and the information's really just to download and install the gameplay preview. So let's go ahead and go outside here. And we're going to run around. Now, yeah, the city doesn't have much else right now. It is really just that. Somewhere here we've got... There we go, Star Labs out on the edge of the city. You can't actually go up and visit Star Labs currently. You can just look at it from a distance. Yeah, and you can run, obviously, very fast. You can control your speed, so here you can see us going very, very, very quick. As we run, we seem to be building up an energy bar, which doesn't actually seem to drain or anything. But that's kind of an interesting thing, because that's something you see him do in the show a few times, is just run around to get, like, an energy buildup of, I guess, static energy or something, and they stop and they've got like lightning and stuff that'll come off of them sometime, and then they'll do the lightning throw, which we can do as an ability. There we go, now the stuff's kind of built up on him. Yeah, and then we could like slow down while we're doing that. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. The idea of a Flash game, I think, sounds cooler than in practice it would be. And a lot of people are going like, oh, none of the major developers have done this. And I think part of the reason we haven't seen a video game based off the Flash isn't necessarily because he's too OP. It's because it's hard to make a game like this, practically speaking. I mean, even at this speed, which, you know, in theory, Flash can even travel faster than what we're seeing here. I mean, he's able to travel faster than the human eye or mind can process, right? How do you really put that into a game? I mean, here this is kind of a small map, and even with a map 5 times the size, you'd be able to cover the map so quickly. You know, and then actually like finding enemies and targeting them and locking on and moving around that like that fast. I think it would be very difficult to make that feel fluid and good and still have like a nice and interesting map that wasn't just like super flat and everything. It doesn't feel very practical. I think this is going to be a kind of a weird project in terms of actually completing this and making this feel good and playable. Like, it is fun to run around like this. I do like running around like this. I like the sonic boom and everything, and just it does feel very fast, and it feels cool seeing the lightning strikes and everything and be able to throw the lightning like they do in the show. But yeah, I don't think it's that practical that we're really going to see this as a proper game ever. I hit the wrong button. I hit F5. I was supposed to hit just 5 to change the time of day. So you can change the time of day. There's this is supposed to be, I guess, afternoon, according to the thing, which to me this looks more like morning or evening. This is morning, which looks like afternoon, midday, and then of course night. So they might have gotten those two mixed around in terms of where the text are, because it would make it more sense to go morning, afternoon, night. There is a light mode, so you can carry a light with you, which is kind of neat. It's definitely not a way in which I would have thought of them using that, but I kind of like that. Running around at night, kind of awful. I'm not gonna lie, like, the emissives on Reverse Flash's eyes are really cool, but the lightning is so bright and the glow is so bright, it's hard to actually even see where you're going, let alone see your character. Like, you can barely make out the outlines of the character, I feel like. Yeah, so night doesn't look super duper great. Let's see here. That was kind of an interesting thing. And then, yeah, here's combat. So combat, a little bit goofy looking too, because you can just like kind of click and your character just looks like they're flailing around. It doesn't really look like they're fighting very well. I'm not even sure how that would work too well. I'm guessing lock-on's going to have to be a thing in this to make this even remotely viable, because I feel like otherwise you're just going to be like blasting past enemies trying to like hit them and stuff, and it's just going to be super difficult without a lock-on function to actually target people whenever they do get added. I guess the other question we need to ask too is whether or not this is going to be an issue with CW. I mean, a lot of the Arrowverse, as they call it, is kind of coming to an end. You know, we've got a show or two left for it, I think. I mean, we got Superman and Lois. I don't even know if there's anything else outside of that. You know, Titans, that's not in the Arrowverse. They made references to the Arrowverse, I think. They had, Grant Gustin in there briefly, and then they had Stargirl reprise her role, which was kind of, sort of in the Arrowverse, kind of not. But, yeah, for the most part it's gone. But on the other hand, you know, just because it's gone doesn't mean CW is going to allow for the use of their properties and stuff. And you never really know how some of these companies are going to react. Like, some companies are cool with projects like this, and they're like, hey, this is, you know, it's goodwill from the fans, you know, it brings more attention to our properties and stuff, and they see it as a way of kind of getting to make potentially more money without having to do anything. And then like other companies are just like, no, that's our property. You know, if we want to do something with it, you know, like, we'll do something with it. It's not your place to get to do that. You know, you take Star Trek Stage 9, for instance, which is a project I've covered in the past, and that got shut down by CBS. And I guess part of that was to do with the, you know, Bridge Crew coming out, and the game being kind of similar to Bridge Crew, which is a tale we've heard a few times before, where, you know, games and stuff have been shut down because of that. But you know that Star Trek's always one that it had a bunch of fan properties and stuff, and it was really popular for a while. And then just CBS had kind of a different head for a while there, and then they just started going like very anti-fan project for a pretty good bit. And then the same group of guys who got a cease and desist for Stage 9, who were told they can't do that for Star Trek, went to Fox and they're like, "Hey, we want to make an Orville fan project. Is that okay?" And Fox just went, "Yeah, sure, go for it. Like, we can't officially endorse it, but you're allowed to do that. We won't stop you." And the crew and the cast and stuff, or at least some of them from the Orville TV show, were like, "Hey, look at this awesome project the fans made. Like, this is cool stuff." So you never know. So like CW might like see this eventually if this starts getting more traction, which I feel like it might. And they might see it and they might say, "Hey, that's not allowed. We're going to shut that down." DC might even shut it down because, you know, Flash is still a DC property even though it's based off the CW version. Or they could both see it and be like, "Yeah, no, we're cool with this. It's interesting. Let's see what we do with it." But even if it is allowed, I don't know. I think they've got a long road ahead of them. I'm interested to see what they do. It would be nice to see a roadmap with this. I will probably continue coverage of this. I don't know if I'll do every single update for this like I do with some other games. This one definitely, I think, will need to cook a little bit longer before I show it again, but it is an interesting concept, and it's one I would love to see developed further to see what the creator can get done with it. At any rate, guys, let me know what your thoughts are on Into the Speed Force, I guess, version 2. And what sort of gameplay or changes and stuff like that would you guys like to see from a project like this? Obviously, like I said, I mean, my biggest concern, aside from potential legal issues, is one of actual viability on this. I think the map size obviously needs to be expanded quite a bit. Having open areas outside the city would be great. You know, we don't know exactly what it looks like outside of Central City, but we do see a few scenes where it seems to be a lot of open fields and stuff around the outside of the city, kind of more farmland type stuff. So maybe that would be a great idea. Right now in this this map, it's very hilly. It doesn't necessarily seem like the most accurate representation of Central City, but you know, maybe if they flatten out some of the edges of the map just a teeny bit, make it a little less steep edges and stuff here, and expand it out, that would be great. And then of course having like enemies and just making sure that like moving around at kind of slower speeds. I mean, we do have, again, the ability to slow down, but somewhere between this and this would be great. You know, like a moderate run would be fantastic. So maybe if we could just get like a regular sprint that's not a Speed Force sprint, that would actually be kind of cool. You know, maybe even make that like, maybe make running kind of the default, or maybe like a scroll wheel thing for speed. So like when you're in this, some games do a scroll wheel so that, you know, your pace changes based off that. Like Star Citizen, this would be like the slowest speed, and then if you scroll wheel up, you kind of go into a jog or whatever, and then holding down shift would put you into a sprint. So maybe something like that is the way to go. But again, I want to know what your guys' thoughts are on that. What do you guys want to see from this? What sort of changes do you think they need to make, if any, to make this a successful project? Alright guys, thanks for watching. Take it easy, and I will see you all in the next one.